Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Stream of Chaos. My name is James, and I will be the keeper for today's game of Rivers of London. We are playing a brand new adventure in Going Underground, one of the latest releases in the Rivers of London TTRPG series, and I'm joined, as I always am, by my fantastic crew of players, who I will now get to introduce themselves, starting off with Art.
Hi, I'm Art, and I just got informed that I have been subscribed to this channel for 33 months, which is very funny.
Oh, yeah, it's a terrible sign.
So, thank you to everyone who subscribes and supports us, and thank you to everyone who just watches and hangs out. It's lovely to have you. Hi, I'm Art. I play a goblin child human person called Pudding. That's it. That's me.
Fantastic and perfect description. Yeah, no, absolutely brilliant.
Happy time zone.
Exactly. Let's jump across to Jackson, if we can.
Hey, that's me. I'm Jackson. I still have my COVID beard as, a sick note from my absence last week. And I'm playing PC Patrick Lewis, Newtonian wizard and commissioned police officer of the Metropolitan Police Service at your service.
Thank you very much, and I will expect just that. Jumping across to Dave.
Hey, g'day. I'm Dave, and I am playing Lucy, dog and vehicle for character growth.
Absolutely, such development last time.
A lot of big stuff. I'm expecting big moves this scenario. Really seed the third act.
Yeah. And last but not least, we have Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex. I am playing Barton Oslo, accountant by day, paranormal photographer by night, and housemate to Lucy.
And that's the most important part.
That's the most important part, really, honestly.
Besties.
Yeah, housemate, yeah. We hang out, we chill.
We chill.
All right, well then, let's...
Oh, wizard, also. Wizard.
And also wizard.
It's so distantly the third thing. So fourth thing, I think.
Who needs spells? All right, exactly. Well, we are playing Going Underground, which is one of the newer releases in the TTRPG line. So we'll jump right in. It's been a little bit of a time jump since the last scenario's action for all of our characters. But before we dive in, I'd like to say a quick thank you to Roll20 and to Sirenscape, tools which we use to improve our game. And also a big thank you to all of the people in chat and such for being here and for following the story so far. So, last time you dealt with a strange appearance inside a bookshop, the apparition of a genius loci that had basically been inhabiting this old heritage building and had imbued itself into the children's section of the bookstore that now operated within. You've dealt with the situation by basically setting up a rotating roster of people who are reading to the genius loci, but apart from that, the situation seems relatively resolved, and you've gone back to your humdrum lives of everyday wizardry, strange investigation, and digging holes in the ground. More specifically, it's been
You
about...
really need to stop doing that, Jackson.
Yeah, my brain went, wait, who's digging? Is that me? Oh, wait.
It's the dog. It's been a couple of it's been a couple of weeks, probably about a month in total. We'll go with Lucy last because I feel like this is going to be a fairly standard dog stuff, but I'll give you a chance to think of something particularly exciting, Dave. What's changed in the last month for each of you? Any big moves that have gone through?
And is this us also factoring in our advancements, James?
Yes, absolutely. We have gone through and we have all selected some character advancements, which are basically the way that your investigators in this game are able to gain new cool things like spells, better skills, or other advantages. If you'd like to talk,
I know what I've done.
That. In which case, why don't you start, Art? Talk to us about your new advantage and talk to us how it was reflected in your life.
So I think I don't know if we went through what advantages and disadvantages our characters already had. So just to touch on those, I think we talked about the fact that Pudding has what is referred to in this game as the knowledge, which is that they get bonus dice on navigating around an area that they know quite well. I'm playing this as Pudding having quite a good knowledge of London for obvious reasons, but less to do with actually more to do with like the historical connection to it. The other one that I have is fast reactions, which allows me, if we ever get into a combat situation, to take 2 reactions per turn rather than just the 1, because fire is really hard to hit with a stick. That's the reasoning I had.
Tends to dance around a bit.
Yeah. So my advancement that I picked up this time round, which I did spend my entire pool of development points on, is silver-tongued. Because I felt that I had done so well at talking to one of the genius loci that I had to honor the fact that I was able to talk my way out of a problem. Silver Tongue specifically gives you bonuses to positive social roles, so things like persuasion and charming and just generally trying to get someone on side. The description for it is very fun. It says you could sell ashes to the devil, which is quite
That's
cool.
cool.
So I quite like that. And specifically, I think the dumbest way I can see of that being like a development thing is that Pudding has gone back to their regular everyday, like they work kind of for the fire department as like not quite like a paid volunteer, or as employed by them. I don't entirely know how it works. As
They
in
don't
me,
entirely
Art.
know either. They've refused to.
Yeah, I
look
think
at
that's
the
it.
paperwork.
Pudding just rocks up and they're like, "Here's a paycheck," and Pudding's like, "Am I? Whatever, money,
You're
great."
technically considered office equipment. You know.
Yikes. But as someone who in my professional career has gone through a couple of like leadership training things, I feel like there's one of those like, hey, we're gonna put everyone on some professional development training and get them to like learn to talk to the people that they're saving or that they're helping, just to like really develop a good rapport with the community. So we're gonna give them some public speaking skills and some communication skills. So that's what Pudding's been doing.
Fantastic.
Stakeholder engagement.
Yeah.
That's what we call it.
There's a joke here about stake warmer engagement or something, but based on the fire thing. But yes, stakeholder
Very good.
engagement absolutely works.
Yeah, I feel like fire in at least one of its forms is warm and charming and inviting, and I felt like that worked.
Yeah.
Again, everything about this character is just, if fire was a person, what would happen?
Absolutely perfect. No, fantastic. That all makes total sense to me. And we also gave you a little bit of a hint of one thing that you saw when you were taking the tube at the end of last scenario, which we will jump back to.
I'm gonna say that thing that happened, Pudding has had the exact same reaction to it that I have, which is that they went, "That's weird," and a month has happened, and they completely forgot that it was even like someone's gonna have to remind them.
Perfect. Well, that's absolutely that's absolutely perfect.
It's gonna come up that is Pudding will be like, "I saw that,"
Yeah.
and everyone will be like, "Why didn't you mention it?" It's like, because
Whoops. No.
I forgot about it till just now.
Brilliant. Okay, so fantastic. Let's go across to Barton, if we could.
Yeah. Well, in the intervening time, so I was just trying to have a look at the leveling up stuff and how much it costs to buy an advantage, because I've still got points, but yeah, we'll deal with that
I
later.
like to think that Barton
Wouldn't wanna
still
get
hasn't
spells.
decided what he wants to do with his life.
Oh, no, he
as
absolutely
gets
knows.
A bit older, so he's still holding his advantage.
Absolutely not. No, he's 52. He knows exactly where he's at. He is an average accountant, a pretty good photographer, and a very kind of stable, steady individual. He knows exactly who he is. Yeah, and I think in the intervening time, he's just been doing his chill thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Learning a new spell. Definitely learned a new spell. After the flying book episode, paid a visit to the Folly Library and has since taught himself how to cast a shield.
Ooh, very useful.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that Barton would be somebody, like based on your experiences in the last scenario, you came from the hedge wizard background, you know, you were largely self-taught. Have you been warming to the Newtonian practitioner way of doing things? Did you learn shield by having someone knock stuff at you and bring it back? No? Self-taught still?
No, that would not fly, as it were.
You do the exercises when you're
Barton would
required
absolutely.
to, but
I'm gonna get grumpy if people are trying to interrupt my study and my practice. This is a solo venture. Yeah, no. If anyone's like, yeah, here, I'll throw something at you, you'd be like, go away.
yeah.
You
Hey,
have to
hey,
leave.
don't throw stuff. That sucks.
Yeah.
yeah.
Not safe.
Yeah. No.
Grumpy old man mode activated.
Absolutely. Nope, that sounds fantastic. So you've been diving into your own study and continued to master a couple of magical spells.
And the way that I much prefer to learn magic is that I get mastery in something before moving on to something else. I'm not like doing things by halves. Like I'm good at this. I don't do as many things, but I'm
good at the ones
I'm
that
on
you
'em.
do. Yeah, no, that sounds fantastic. Is that mirrored by PC Lewis, or are you
Look, I'm still poking away at my advancement points as well.
Yeah.
But having heard that, I think I will actually do the complete opposite, which makes sense. I think PC Lewis will have a great desire to understand as many spells as he can. Just like, I mean, he's a database engineer at heart, which also makes him kind of a Pokemon trainer. You know, he's got to catch them all and catalog them and put them in his Pokedex.
That's very funny.
So yeah, I think he's going to get Cinderace.
Cindera? Yeah,
This
absolutely.
is how I would butcher that pronunciation for sure, as well as an extra 10 points in magic. So yeah, just hitting up the laboratories. Unlike Barton going to the library, kind of just trying to steal a few spells to teach themselves. Lewis is like signing up for extra classes to get the extra credit, and getting some more spells that way.
All critical things. Okay, fantastic. Brilliant. And last but not least, what's going on in the world of dog, Lucy?
Tough out here, man. I'm trying to hold on. So yeah, I've divided all my points between skills. Spoiler. And I've used it to increase a couple of the ones that I used in the last scenario. You were very generous with flexibility and letting me kind of move some things around to better suit the character. And I've then reinforced that with the skills. So Lucy excels at athletics, and I think she's put another 10 there, and I think that's her just basically bounding around the city, having a great old time. She also excels at sense fastigia, because she's kind of got the nose for ghosts and goblins and things. And I think I spend more nights now at Barton's because it's warm and safe, and I've very much grown to see that. Also because that's my tie-in of, if there's an adventure, I go with Barton. You know, I'm there for it. I think Lucy likes the camaraderie and the goblin chasing. But in the other ones, she sort of roams around and will sometimes be found or not found. She just will be sleeping under bridges and things where there just happens to be a strange presence as she's kind of getting her nose in for it. Learning that there was so much dog violence at the last one at a last minute, not triggering it earlier. I think that's kind of what she's trying to get how can I understand this better? How can I interpret it better?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've also put a couple extra points in read person and stealth, because both of those did come up during the last one, and I like the idea of her kind of being able to be it's not read person as in, are you lying about this? It's the you know, when someone comes over to your house and your cat likes them and you're like, well, you can't be that bad. And if the cat doesn't like them, it's kind of
it's a red
what's
flag.
up with that?
Yeah.
That's my one. I just want to be able to kind of be I don't like this guy. This guy sucks.
100%.
You guys should kill this guy. You guys should cast spells on him.
No, that makes total sense. I like it.
Is Barton it's for Alex, if you don't mind, Jim. Is Barton around the folly at all, or not really?
Sometimes. If he needs a book, he'll pop in, have a bit of a quick read, pop out. So sometimes, but not heaps. Have apartment in London. We'll use apartment in London.
In that case, if I feel like I would possibly. Actually, I don't know whether it would be expected that I would know where Barton lives, or Pudding would know where Barton lives. But I think at some point Pudding does fully just randomly one day knock on the door and be like, "Hi, I brought tea," and just comes in at only once in the month, but just on a random day, hops in, feeds Lucy a bunch of ham, and then just fucks off again.
Yeah.
And I think PC Lewis gets a potentially a similar thing, but he's not home. because he's at the Folly. So I probably miss him.
Well, I think
You probably come home to like a very small, slightly cold now, like little hamper on your doorstep or something.
like any good apprentice wizard, I think PC Lewis lives at the Folly.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, as in like, do they
He's
have
all in.
places?
There are quarters
Yeah.
there. Yeah, you can.
Well, then in
lodge.
that case, you will just find like somehow I got into your quarters and left a little hamper on your bed, and then just
let
Nice.
in by one of the stuff. Fantastic. Or
I
somehow.
don't need to be let in. I have lockpicking, Jim.
So yeah, got in for some variety. I love it. Yeah, perfect.
It's fine.
All of the alarms and traps
Yeah,
eviscerated in moments.
I think that the traps would at least know. Well, the magical defense is no friend from foe. Mostly.
I'm going in the same way as Pudding. I think there's more holes in this place. The place is a sieve.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll pick up the story then. It is relatively late in the evening, kind of pushing just past where you're like just past 8 p.m. Which to me is like you can't even pretend it's like the end of the day anymore. It's properly sinking into night, and a variety of circumstances have sort of orchestrated things to bring you all into the Folly at this one point. So Barton, you possibly were there figuring out a last bit of particular study that you were wanted to get done. PC Patrick Lewis, as we have established, you live here. You don't get to leave. So you're going to be here anyway. Lucy, you occasionally keep Barton company with this sort of thing. So you probably just sort of here practically by accident and putting
I make
this,
my own way here
Yeah.
sometimes. It's, wherever and whenever.
whenever Toby needs bullying, although you've warmed to him since last time. So and putting you this is one of the times that you've come through to visit. While you're
I sensed that Toby needed bullying, so Lucy and I went over.
You were interrupted at one point during your study by Toby, and your ire has been raised, so you bring the attack dog next time. Brilliant. While you're there, you hear, and this is a sound that you've become, at least PC Lewis, you are very, very used to. Having worked in a variety of police stations over the years, this is the alert that you hear is sort of this combination of kind of background dings, hums, and alarm signals that denote what's happening inside an active station. The rest of you would have been slowly, made aware of what it all meant and what it had to do with your work. Obviously, the Folly has less like direct connection into the everyday aspect of policing. They're not being called out to every single case that appears, although it does seem like things are coming more and more often. But in this late shift, as the collection of you are going about your business, you hear one of the pings go off where somebody is responding to an alert that's been sent through to a Falcon unit, and the person attending is a new recruit, somebody who is a junior police officer who is basically just here to be a communications official at this point, and who still hasn't gone through a lot of the training that is required for staff like this. So I presume PC Lewis will have you walking down the hall, and you hear from like the communications room set off to one side, in one of the areas where the electronics and that kind of thing can function and get outside of the Folly itself. A report coming through, and a very nervous, like, can you repeat that? Okay. And you think it might have been magic, you said. Okay, all right, that's why we're here, I guess. Immediate reaction?
Who is this Nevish?
This
Do I know them?
is Ernie Walker, a junior
Walker.
junior officer who is just having a real hard time responding to things. As you hover, you can practically hear the sort of coming from the other side of the phone in what is presumably the gruff voice of a senior sergeant who's had enough of this shit.
I'm going to walk in and just kind of mime. She needs some help.
I thought for a second you were gonna not offer, just stand there and watch, but no, this is much better.
We've all been PC Walker at some point in our careers. Just some people choose to forget that.
No,
And
very true.
Patrick is not.
Fair enough. Well, with a a very earnest look of thanks, Walker hands over the equipment to you, and you're able to take over the call, where you immediately speak to a Sergeant Finnegan. Finnegan does have a gruff voice and says, sorry, is this a more senior detective, somebody who?
Yes. Not a detective, sir. This is PC Patrick Lewis. I've been at the Folly for some time, and I think I can be of assistance. PC Walker has flagged me down and requested some assistance. I'd be happy to take the report.
Okay, all right, good. Well, I've had some Folly contact before, so I made sure that this call went straight through to your lot. We've had something happen down in one of the old underground stations, a disused one. One of the transport police officers as a rail inspector, saw something, and it all doesn't track, and we figured we better get you involved as quickly as possible, because if we wait, then we're going to have to wait for a while. You're just going into the nighttime now, as I mentioned, and the only time you're able to get down into the tube in the underground, it's quickly explained, particularly to some of the more difficult to access areas, is while there are fewer trains operating. So you've got a window outside of peak hours, basically, which is why this is being expedited a little bit.
Understood. You say a rail worker has seen something?
That's right. We brought them in, and they're awaiting questioning. Basically, they saw something unnatural. They're okay. No harm done. They're not very receptive, if you know what I mean. A lot of trying to explain away what they saw, and pretty embarrassed to talk about the details of it. I've called
Understood.
in.
That's what we specialize in.
I've preemptively called in a liaison officer who can take you down into the underground if that's going to be needed. So they're on standby. But I'll hand over to you at this stage. What's the procedures?
We'll assemble a team here and attend the scene shortly. I understand that we would need to attend fairly quickly because of the window of opportunity presents, and so that's what we'll do. Sorry, you're Sergeant. How were you involved? You've taken a statement from.
Yeah, well,
where the report come to from you?
I'm the custody sergeant, actually, at the station where Mr.
Understood.
Butler, this is the witness, presented himself.
Understood. Very good. All right, we'll assemble a team and attend presently. You say we've got a liaison with the British Transport Police?
They're on their way. By the time you arrive, they'll be here. It's a Sergeant Kumar coming. You've got until 5 a.m.
From the books. Delightful. Always fun recognizing embassy from the books. Excellent. Thank you, Sergeant. Oh man. And this is the part where it's like, think, Jackson, this is the part where you need to ask a question of the quest giver, because it's the last chance you're going to have. But maybe there'll be enough questions there.
Yep.
When we get there.
You are also
Hopefully
about
it'll
to
be fine.
go to them, but you definitely, like, as I mentioned, 5 a.m. It's just past 8 p.m. now. You've got if you want to do any of your favorite thing, research, you're gonna be burning into hours pretty.
And
quickly.
ideally do it
no.
before you tell the rest of the party and they run off. So you actually just don't give us the quest yet. You get to jump on a little book time while we fuck around in the corner.
The sensible thing to do. Oh, actually, so the one question I think I had was, which station was it? Where are we going?
So the station in question is the British Museum station, which doesn't exist. It's not a real. Sorry. To be clear, it was a station. It is a disused, abandoned station, which is presumably why the only person who was there was a official working with the London Underground. Right?
Like a maintenance worker.
Exactly. That's right, Mr. Buckler. but there are operating obviously stations nearby, and the train lines go through and past that area.
Oh, gotcha. So it's like you can actually see the station go past you, but the train never stops there.
There's it's a bit of a tangle, but yes, hypothetically you could, although it would be rare for a route to specifically go past that.
Understood. Okay, good to know. No, yes, that's all we'll need. And no, the tube waits for no man. I'm not inclined to do a lot of those British Museum station. There's gotta be something there.
Yeah, it's a link. As you hang up all of this stuff, you can't help but sort of like puzzle. You know who's around, and this is one of the situations where it just so happens that because of a confluence of events, you're the most senior person immediately on hand who's able to commit to things, which is why you would be assembling a team and going out and, oh wow, look, your task force from last time just happens to be in the Folly. Isn't that convenient from a plot perspective?
It is.
We'll meet in a tavern.
Yeah.
I'd like
Get
to
on
have
the
a
quest.
research roll before I pass the quest on. Just in
Absolutely.
case I can do half an hour of digging just to see what the British Museum Station
hour.
You've got your library,
Has
you've got your
been-
We
files.
joked about PC Lewis digging all during the downtime. It absolutely was him.
Honestly, yeah, no, he learned his lesson from last time. Get some more information because these other jokers gonna want to rush off.
So it's about 8 p.m. You hang up, and Walker says, do you want me to, pass on the message to anybody?
Thank you. We have the message. It has been passed on. We'll take it from here.
Okay. Puts down all of the equipment, sets it back up, and settles into a chair, ready to wait for another several hours, presumably, before getting in any contact. And
Maybe he could
hoping-
review his documentation in the downtime.
Exactly. Yeah. Go back through. There's a comic book sticking out from between the yeah.
I has a question, and I was just waving at them.
Yes.
Yeah,
I got
right.
very confused. I was like, am I being alerted to something? Has
No,
something
not at all.
happened? No. Okay.
I just want to wave at my friend Art.
Please.
It was less a question and more just if we're all here and I assume Button is doing some study or something
Yep.
to that effect, I would like to be sitting on the ground rolling a tennis ball, skipping it across whatever larger open area that they have for if there's
The
a kind
entry
of,
hall?
either an entry hall or if the library or the research area is a pretty decent size. I don't know what the inside of
There's
the
a
hall
big
is.
large. The entry hall is probably the best area that you.
Great, I'm gonna be sitting in the middle of the entry hall, skipping a tennis ball down the hallway for Lucy.
Nice.
Nice.
And then when she comes back and gives it to me, I will give her some of the roast beef in the sandwich that I am currently mowing through because I am never not eating.
Lucy has taken the opportunity to go absolutely feral for a short period because there's no one else around. So she's taking the ball and then refusing to bring it back and just sprinting around the area, careening towards valuable artifacts and magical, all sorts. Or maybe that's
With the
portraits of important people, and then just barely running out of the way as claws scramble on the marble, and then goes sprinting back. Only drops it when she's exhausted, but as soon as it's picked back up again, kind of okay, we can do it once more.
Once more. That's fine.
I mean, you are getting rewards of roast beef.
Yeah.
Slightly tinged
ass.
with that. What is that yellow pickle, mustard pickle or something? There's a specific
It's
pickle.
It's come
that
off the
goes on-
sandwich.
It is a
Yeah.
good day to be a dog.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, one room across, I presume, Barton. Any more thoughts about spells? Have you looked at?
Oh yeah,
pick
no,
something specific?
I've started learning my next one, but I haven't mastered it yet.
Will you give us a hint, or is it going to be a surprise?
I haven't mastered it yet, so as far as I'm concerned, I haven't learned it yet. If
That's
it's not
great.
mastered, it's not learned.
That's great. I love it. And
Whereas I've picked up Cindere, Impello Palmer, and Ball of Lightning.
hell yeah, these feel
Ball
pretty
of lightning.
cool. Gonna be
Ball
real.
of Lightning.
Love
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
How?
Elaborate
Ball of
on that.
Lightning.
I understand ball of fire. I don't understand ball of lightning because that is specifically like a charge moving through particles in a direction trying to find a ground.
Sounds like wizard
Ball
shit to
doesn't. Lightning does not ball.
Oh yes, it does.
It does when it's a third order spell.
Hell
Can I learn
yeah.
third order spells? I
Fine.
didn't check. Are there any rules against me learning third order spells at this
I
time?
do not believe so. I think that as long as you
Fantastic.
have all of
I have
the
all of the
prerequisites for it,
requirements.
you can.
Fence
The
rests.
caveat is more magic points, bigger boom, bigger risk of
That's
sudden
okay.
stroke.
I only just read magic points. You get they recharge every scene.
Yes, that's
Not
right.
every day.
You're
every
a,
scene.
you're a wizard.
Yeah.
You're expected to be casting. Anyway.
Wizards do be casting.
Wizards be
They
casting.
really are like that.
Yeah. Anyway, so as everyone's engaged in their various activities, PC Lewis, you walk down the hall and like spot everybody, and then keep going and make a quick turn.
Incredibly
into
unsuspiciously.
the mundane library, I presume.
Well, if I'm the senior officer on duty, I need to brief the other officers, and you can't brief them unless you know something.
Exactly.
Completely agree. So, research roll. You dive forward into your happy place and get to work. You've got a little
Just a
bit of
quick one.
information. What kind of? Give me a couple of hits. What do you? What?
Just really about the museum, I think. Sorry, not the museum station.
Yep.
What is it? Why was it closed? When was it closed? Does anyone use it for anything ever now these days? Yeah, just the history of it in broad terms, I think.
Okay.
Just be like, was it I mean, it was the underground. I think they use those as like, they use them for the war.
Well, that's
It's
where
like you
that's,
put things underground during the war when you're being bombed. So there's probably something there.
You absolutely get links on that. So, first of all, make for me a research roll. And you're going to get some kind of level of trivial information, but I'd like you to make a...
Nicely done.
That is 1/5. Which is not a thing in this game, but
It's just a good roll.
you
Well
could
done.
call that an extreme success if you were so inclined.
If you felt that way, yeah, no, absolutely. But so you're very experienced at this, so that you can sound smart during pub trivia, and you blast through a bunch of quick research, and you.
It is not 1/5. I'm sorry. It's a. Oh yes, it is. Oh no, it's almost. No, it's not. It's not. It's one above 1/5. Go on. I had to correct the record.
That's quite all right. And you get some basic information about the British Museum's station. So first of all, you get all of the streets that are near it, which mean very little to me as a non-Londoner. But for those who it will mean something too, it was on Great Russell Street originally, and it was opened in July of the year 1900, one of the first actual, big stations to open, because it kind of at the turn of the century was when all of the undergrounds were opening in Paris and in London and New York as well. But it was closed relatively quickly. It was closed in 1933. Basically because a new station was opened at Holborn nearby, and then the Central and Piccadilly lines became like an interconnected interchange, and suddenly British Museum Station is not particularly needed and falls out of usage. For a while, it was very heavily used as a shelter for people, not even stored goods. But during World War II, an additional floor was added, and it was repurposed as an air raid shelter all throughout the bombings. Following the war, it was turned into basically a military outpost. This is all very thorough information. You get like a complete detail of it. So it turned into administrative and offices for the military. These were all closed in the 60s. And it was briefly used as a storage area until a large section of it was demolished in the late 80s, 89, and it became basically entirely disused, falling into an abandoned station. And apart from people going there to check that nothing, goes wrong, basically, it sees very little activity. It is also the site of an extremely popular urban legend. Or if you're into that kind of stuff, you hear a lot around people who like to go urban exploring and that sort of thing, that it is haunted. It is haunted specifically by an ancient
Fantastic.
Egyptian princess called
baby.
Amen-Ra, the unlucky mummy. There is also rumors that it is still connected to the British Museum via a series of secret tunnels that go underground, and you can dart from the museum into it. That's everything. And with such a high level of success, I'm going to say that takes you a tight half hour. You get the full
Excellent.
details, and then you're all.
I'll give you an hour. I'll give you an hour. for
No,
that,
no,
2 minutes,
please. You're going to need the time.
Fantastic. After all that, I shall assemble my team.
Okay, fantastic. You call them into one of the briefing rooms, and I think I throw over to you here. Let's get a little bit of PC Lewis in action. The other three have basically assembled out in the hall. You can call them in, and what do you say?
Fantastic. I've already got the I think it's called an Elmo, like the overhead projector set up, ready to go. Oh, do we have power in here? Yeah, we have power. We just don't have internet. Set up, ready to go with a map of the station up on the screen, and do my very best to emulate DCI Nightingale in giving a briefing. And you all can decide how it goes. I don't have any
would love
pretensions,
Jackson
but
to
I'm
make
just
a
here.
social roll to see how.
All right, yeah, I'll
Badges
do the
the
roll
students.
first, and then I'll.
I would like everything
based on
the
how it
gym
goes.
relayed to be re-relayed in the style of PC Lewis relaying it to us. Thank.
I'd like to do a social roll first to see how it goes.
What's your social skill?
Terribly. 30. We have our first call that we are expected to respond to as a unit, as a team. I know that we have not been working together extensively, but I hope that this will go well.
Where, son? Where?
Yes. And then point dramatically to the map. Here.
There's a big shadow across it where Lucy's got her head on the projector watching, and so there's just a huge dog blown up over the whole thing.
Excuse me, Lucy. Here. The British Museum station, originally built in
The defunct one, yeah? It's not
yes.
used, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And it's not on any of the main lines, so the tube doesn't really go past it unless there's a problem with the line.
Yes. And it's closed, and it's closed now, but
Elaine,
it was used.
Didn't you... when you dropped over for some tea, you said something about the subway, about...
Am I in
I can't
trouble?
remember it. No, when you dropped over for tea, you mentioned something.
Oh, you just used me first name. That only happens when I'm in trouble.
Old habits.
Oh. Oh yeah! Yeah, I
The
remember.
tube.
Yeah.
Right.
There was a face.
There was a face.
Yeah. There was a face in a tunnel when I was on a tube like a month ago.
I'll just quickly jump in to say, just because of timelines, I alluded to might have been. This would have probably been about a week ago for you.
Okay. A week ago. Maybe a little longer. I don't know. Time's a weird soup.
You were near the British Museum station.
Was I near the museum station? Yeah.
You have the knowledge, which means that you have a very inbuilt understanding of how the city works. Yes, you were near the British Museum station, absolutely. And based on the knowledge, you can probably say that it just occurs to you in your head, because I know this isn't exactly how it works, but I like the idea of the knowledge as taxi drivers, meaning you have a psychic connection into knowing currently like the state of traffic everywhere. You expect even that you might have been detoured that day. The day you did see the face would have been something where the train did go closer to British Museum Station.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
All that. I said
Well-
that out of my mouth hole when I
Well, it
wasn't
sound-
eating a Bakewell tart, which is what I have been doing because
Well, it
I have
sound-
actual Bakewell tarts.
it sounds like the both of you are well briefed. and caught up. So let's go.
Wait, what?
Oh, yes. So tonight,
Hey,
received,
Lewis, what's happening?
yeah, we received a call from Sergeant Finnegan, who reports that a rail worker, Mr. Buckler, has seen something unusual. He is shaken, but not directly harmed, and we
Is he
need
stirred?
to attend and take a statement about possible Falcon activities.
Okay.
I'm going to politely ignore that, just go over it. I got it and chose to ignore it.
I mean, if you respond to every interjection Pudding makes, the conversation wildly goes off track. So it's a good
Or
plan.
nowhere.
That assumes there was a track to begin with. I guess there really is.
Fantastic. That's the job. And of course, we can only attend the underground parts, the tunnels and the tracks themselves, while the network is slowed down overnight. So we would only have until 5 in the morning, which is perfect for us to attend during the night shift.
Okay. Well, I guess we go and speak to this Buckler.
Yes, Mr. Buckler and Sergeant Kumar of the British Transport Police will be attending as our liaison officer as well.
What?
And as you all know, the British Transport Police is a slightly separate division to the Metropolitan Police, like a different police force entirely, I believe.
Yeah,
memory
I
serves.
think that they are under a separate jurisdiction technically.
They don't
and
have
so
the
you-
jurisdiction.
I
I say that at some point.
Don't know this. And
Well, because if you think about it, like, you know, if you wanted to investigate a crime that happened on a train, but the train goes through different police jurisdictions, you're in trouble. You're going to want a police force that has restriction of just on the trains.
And I think
That's
it
pretty cool.
stems from the fact that because like London was basically one of the places that a big like police force sort of sprung up, was one of the first
Well,
places
they invented the police
Yeah, basically, yeah.
on the docks.
It like the jurisdictional separation in the UK is sort of a fairly major feature, as opposed to maybe in some other countries where there is more.
There's
overlap.
state police, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
And they've got a big.
So, you are pretty close to at least Holborn Station, which is, as I mentioned, the one that would ultimately correct or supersede British Museum Station, about a 10-minute walk from where you are. So you may just
Easy.
want to whip straight over there rather than try to risk transport. The final
say so.
thing is...
Is that where we're getting the statement though, or are we going somewhere else to get the statement?
there is a police station there where you'll be meeting
Right.
Sergeant Finnegan and the others that you'll be wanting to speak to.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
What year are we in?
I believe technically, canonically, 2016.
Oh, okay, so we're
but-
not in like actually modern.
Yes, no. So well, it's one of those. It's one of those things where the game year is there's a canonical game year that you're set in, which I believe is 2016. But
Okay.
I'm very much a fan of also there's
Here
sort
and
of
now.
instructions for moving things forward. So Rivers of London is modern in
Modern,
the
yeah.
So is there a specific element
Yeah.
that you what were you concerned about?
I'm not concerned as much as I'm like, you said it would be a 10-minute walk, and obviously, like, Pudding has a pretty good understanding of the city, so would, like, as we've already discussed, does the, like, I'll catch a bus, and then a train, and then I'll walk, and then I'll parkour, and then, like, I'll do... Do they have toot-toots yet? Sorry. Do they have,
The
scooters?
e-scooters, yeah, I love that.
Oh yeah, the
That's
limes or whatever.
That's
The
hilarious.
toot-toots!
I'm in on the e-scooter. I did put some extra points in drive as well.
I love that so
I'm
much.
down for e-scooter.
And
That
for the
is
record,
hilarious.
Pudding does refer to them as toot-toots, because that's the weird sound they make, and forgets that they are called e-scooters, because that is also what happened to Art just then.
Are they all over London like they are in?
Well, that's what I'm
Melbourne?
curious
I know
about,
it's,
is one, are we in an era where they would even be possible, and two, do they have them in London? I don't know if they do.
I googled it and they exist, but I don't know like as here they're everywhere. They're up trees. They're a domestic. They're a
Yeah,
pest.
we actually grow them on trees in Australia. We don't,
I thought
like,
they
it's
were
one
amphibious
of
and
those,
they
like,
grew out of the
factors
Yarra.
of the weird soil, is, like, we have e-scooters that grow on trees.
I think that e-scooters are firmly within the realm of maximum game fun. So
Yeah.
we will rewrite history. You're on e-scooters.
Toot, toot.
You've decided that, and genuinely, if you get stuck in traffic, that could cut into your time pretty significantly. I think that's a fantastic idea.
I was gonna say, if we don't have e-scooters, then I am very willing for Pudding to have just stashed like one of those like unfolding scooters somewhere and just as
Hell
one.
yeah.
Just
be
be
like,
like, has a razor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wheelie shoot.
They in real life they've been under like in a trial since 2021.
Yeah.
Just started the second phase of the trial. So I think say that they're under trial and I mean, maybe
There
they've
we go.
just come out. Maybe the trial's just started, and Pudding is dead set keen to be a trailblazer
But as a
in
police
this
officer,
area.
you're not allowed to use them, PC Lewis. So all the others get to go on the Lime scooters.
Yeah.
And get the job. No, I'm teasing.
If I want to, I don't know. Is this is not how
It's not handbook.
the Queen's Finest get around? Surely.
At any rate, so I have two critical pieces of information I need to get from the collection of you before we leap across or slide across.
Toot toot.
You have what would be reasonably on you in your pockets or currently held in your mouth, in Lucy's case. You're not stopping to get any particular extra pieces of equipment at this point, bearing in mind that would slow you down.
We're going to need torches. But that's probably part of the standard gear.
If that,
We might assume that they'll like give them to us when we get there, though, right? They're like, all right, you're going down there. Here's your hard hat.
if
et
you're
cetera."
meeting with a liaison officer, it would be expected that you're going to be provided with all of those key details.
Right.
Okay, in which case you're straight off, so no big extra time there.
Well, we got time pressure. We got yeah.
That works fantastically.
We have a time pressure, so we wasted 30 minutes researching.
Waste?
Used, spent,
Well-
allocated.
And I will say, I did forget to give
I
you
misspoke.
one other thing. Based on your successful research, you do get an old map, circa 1933, of
Outstanding.
the London Underground. So you do have some like additional information about the structure of all of the interconnected tunnels and lines and things like that. There is also a fantastic sub detail here in the book text, which is that if you fumble your roll to research, you get the map, but you are so engrossed in reading about the fascinating history of the London Underground that you walk into a lamppost on your way over and take a bunch of damage. And I think that's
That's delightful.
hilarious.
potentially catastrophic if you were on an e-scooter, because you're like, I'm just going to have a quick at the door, and then you're flat out.
Yikes.
So, all right. So you head off pretty quickly then, and go forward to Holborn Station. There is a police station relatively nearby that you can stop in at, and it is much more active than the Folly around this time of night. All up between the briefing and the travel. We'll take 15 minutes for the briefing because you weren't particularly smooth and slick about it. PC Lewis, and the travel will bring you at 9 o'clock p.m. when you arrive at the station, at the police station. Inside, you meet with Sergeant Finnegan. He is, having set things up for you effectively, is now pretty hair-ready to hand over responsibility. He's an older, middle-aged, white man with a shaved head, very no-nonsense, and happy to gesture towards one of the interrogation rooms technically, but the door's open. You can smell like tea wafting out.
Where they keep the kettle.
Yeah, exactly. It's been opened up, and it's very clear that the witness who is inside is not a suspect in any way. Anything you need before you go ahead? No?
Lucy,
What did he
Lucy
say?
is
What did he
seated
say
with
that he
like
saw?
a jacket, a vest thing on. And can I be having all the torches and extra equipment be slotted in on me so I can carry that and people can have their hands free? That's my contribution to them at the moment.
I absolutely love that.
I'll carry stuff.
Makes total sense. Yeah.
Something
great.
unnatural is all we've got.
Yeah, but-
And I think generally, I mean, the thing with Falcon cases is as soon as a police officer gets the sense it's a Falcon case, they try to hand it off to the Folly as quickly as possible while learning as little as possible. That's my justification for not asking that very astute question.
Yeah. I mean, Finnegan does seem relatively receptive. And
Oh, you're asking him right now. Sorry,
Oh, no,
I
no,
thought
no.
you were
I was
asking
asking
me.
him what he
I thought you were asking me.
Old mate said that he saw.
Yeah, so this is Finnegan, not
in the
Buckler,
first instance, in case
to be clear. So
yeah.
and Finnegan will briefly say, basically, says he saw a face down there, got spooked, got jumped by somebody.
Face.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Face.
someone lurking around that didn't seem quite right. Basically,
Just a face?
weird face. Get it? Don't want to color. I don't want to color your analysis. Get the information from him. Just bear in mind that it took a while to get him to, some people really don't want to talk to you a lot. And look, you understand. I don't think he does. So
Do you have 2 mugs, please?
yeah, it's all in there. There's a table set up of everything you'll need.
Great.
Perfect.
Sergeant Kumar here.
Sergeant
yeah.
Sergeant Kumar's at Holborn Station, waiting
Oh.
for you there. So you can
Gotcha.
meet with him. He's got bags with torches, high-vis, everything that you'll need, so you can get right in. Punctual chap. Try not to take too long. Very quickly, not PC Lewis, but Jackson, because I love being able to do this because genuinely PC Lewis as well would have read all of the reports that have been put
Of
together
course.
by Peter Grant. You would have probably as much knowledge about Sergeant Kumar as you can off the top of your dome remember about the character. Would you like to give a rough?
Well, I mean, the key thing is, as I mentioned, at every kind of police station, every kind of police department, every division, every police station, everyone does their best to wash their hands of Falcon cases as quickly as possible. Because if you're not quick enough to do that, then they all kind of, you get lumped. You become the de facto kind of Folly liaison officer for your division and for your station and for your district. And that is the unenviable task that just fell into Sergeant Kumar. He ended up becoming the kind of the Folly liaison for the British Transport Police because he just happened to work with Peter Grant twice in 6 months. And so now he's the one who kind of gets called for all of the weird bollocks. That's all I can remember off the top of my head. And so I just remember that, you need someone to give you the safety briefing and make sure that you're going down a safe tunnel and, doing things
correct.
according to the law when you're on the railway tracks. That's all there is to it.
No, yeah, good.
That's all I remember.
Good analysis and everything you need to know here. So you step aside into the interrogation room, and you are introduced to Mr. Buckler, first name Bruce. Is
it buckler as in a shield or butler as in someone who buttles?
Buckler Shield.
Thank you.
Bruce Buckler.
Excellent name.
Yeah,
Sounds like a good bloke.
And true blue bloke kind of vibes. He's a sort of looks basically like he has. He would rather be completely out of here and back down at work. He's still wearing kind of dusty trades boots, and his high vis, which he would have had going down there, is taken off and put over a chair in the corner. Hard-working fella. Stands up and nods as the collection of you come in, and says, thank you for coming to chat with me. Doesn't know if he's meant to gesture or sit down, so he just kind of hangs awkwardly, waiting to be told what to do.
Can I just wander up, hand him if there's a mug of tea or something, pour one, hand it to him. It will be warm.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. It's warm. And I go, they said you saw a face. Can you tell us?
Yeah. Takes the mug. you see like his brain I know that Pudding enjoys sort of demonstrating some of their ability to like heat things basically, and
it's more like it's almost a afterthought. Like there is no way that Pudding would ever have a drink in their hand that should be warm and it isn't warm.
Yeah.
If Pudding is handed a drink that should be warm and it stays tepid, get them to a hospital, something's terribly wrong. Like it is just an afterthought.
Yeah.
They are because they also run hot. Like if you touch them, they are warmer than most people. So it's just like it is truly an afterthought.
Totally tracks. Well, what I'm thinking is that I sort of what I want to get across is that let's say that Mr. Buckler was sitting there with he'd had a cup of tea growing cold, and you heat that and hand it over.
Yeah.
The point I want to make is that you see his brain like touch the cup, and maybe he interprets it like, oh, it's changed states and this isn't right, but you can see like he's not quite willing necessarily to process things. And as he sits down, and as the collection of you gather together to, taking place or wandering into the corner and lying down on the ground, getting some good crumbs.
I am going to be going. I'm gonna do a circle of the room, kind of vibe check, and then I'm gonna go and be sniffing the vest that he laid down that was down there in the tunnels with him.
Mm-hmm.
See if I get any sense vestigia or other interesting notes, but I'll resolve that.
Great
after
idea.
the
That's a very good idea. We'll jump onto that in a second. But as he sits down, he says, "Oh yeah, I mean a face. Yeah, I've been trying to think about it more, and I know I was pretty worried to your sergeant out there." He calls him Tony because presumably he'd been introduced as Anthony Finnegan, the guy's full name. And he starts immediately trying to second guess himself. He's pulling back. He is really trying to over-explain what he's seen. Somebody is going to need to make a social check with this guy to get him to open up.
Well, I guess it's probably gonna be me.
Yep. What's your angle?
My angle is warm, friendly, inviting. It's like, hey, I know that you're gonna try and justify what you saw, but sometimes things just like you see them, and the more you try and justify them, the more complicated it gets in your brain. Just tell us what you saw. If it helps, I was on a tube the other day, and I thought I saw a face as well. So it'd be helpful to know whether it's the same thing. Maybe there's a weird, maybe there's just something weird down there that looks like a face. Or maybe there's someone down there. But it'd be helpful to know what you knew. We ain't judging. We just need to know.
So you're not going to laugh at me. It's not a gag.
Why would
Do
I
I
laugh
look like
at
the
you?
kind
You
of guy
seem-
who laughs?
Looks across to you, Barton. Looks across to you, Pudding, and eyes flick around a bit. I'll get you to make your roll.
I would be like, we're a bunch of the police that have like a dog. What we like people.
No, easily done. No, that's absolutely fantastic. I was going to say that because the one angle that you could have gone through here is because as a police officer, PC Lewis does get a bonus die speaking
I
to
know.
law-abiding citizens, but with Silver
But they're
Tongue,
just so much better.
yeah. Well,
than
Pudding
me.
is very good at talking. So let's get a roll.
All right, D100 is 91. We'll roll a D10 for the bonus die.
Nice.
Goodness.
31. So that
31.
is, you can have a point of luck to make it a hard if that helps. Otherwise, we'll leave it at that.
You have tons of luck. Yes, I will take that point of luck.
That.
I will take a single
give me
point
that,
of
yeah.
luck. Well, hey, just because at the time of all of this, there's a solid chance that I can burn through all 80 points of my luck. And then it ticks over midnight because
Yeah.
we've got till 5 a.m. and I get it all back again, baby.
Having the reset point just after midnight is very convenient, isn't it? Yeah.
A lot of
Okay.
scenarios.
Does it really say that?
That
Does it
you
really
get it.
say
Yeah, it's not
midnight?
it's a time.
It's
not
set it whenever you
specific
want it.
to the
It's
cat.
not an
Like, so,
adventuring day. It's
no, it's so the
It's-
luck of the demimonde is it can happen like at a set time, or it can happen at a specific event that happens at a similar time. So like you could say the changing of the
Sunrise,
guard
or-
at Buckingham Palace. like
That's
the
delightful.
first change of the guard, like which is I think approximately 11 a.m. It could be sunrise or sunset, which would change every day, but only happens once. Mine is just after midnight, which is when the Fire of London was reportedly
Brilliant.
started. So
And
it's like, yeah.
And it's
so
a lore-friendly and narratively
Thematic and
appropriate
good
time
time.
that
Yeah,
also is
so,
just
like,
proving very mechanically
technically,
advantageous.
if I'd said sunset, I would have got my refresh already and we'd be done. And obviously,
I
like,
see.
so
You're just gonna
and
burn it
because
all
it's just
now.
after midnight, it kind of works for like, oh, if you sleep, then it'll be there when you wake up in the
Yeah,
morning.
yeah, yeah.
It just
Brilliant.
happens that this specific scenario, because of the time it's set,
That's
will
fine.
interact
No
with
notes.
that in a fun way.
I have no problem.
So
Luck of the Demimond, OP as fuck.
But Buckler basically, you was pretty sure that he was being messed with, but you managed to convince him that this is actually, something where you're looking into it, and although he's hesitant to he doesn't want to have found anything, but he's pretty happy to contribute towards an investigation that was already ongoing, and like sort of be like, oh, that's my part done, I'm away, sort of thing, and
I think that's where I lean on like I saw something down there as well, and because like you're confirming something that like we have suspicions about, so we just want to understand exactly what it is you saw. We don't need you to provide context. We're not going to laugh at you, because what we're trying to do is determine whether what you saw down there matches what we've already seen. So we're not going to laugh at you because we've already seen it.
Mm.
Yeah,
I like it.
Exactly. So, and with that, he opens up and basically clarifies. So I've worked on the lines for a long time. I'm pretty familiar with them all, and
We appreciate your service.
Oh, thank you. My job's to go down there and to basically look for damage and any other safety concern. And as well as doing this on frequently used lines and things like that, you also have to check everything from accessory and supporting tunnels all the way to abandoned stations. I've been through to the British Museum station before, right? And I'm not a suspicious person. Like, I don't believe any of the myths about it or anything like that. It's all fine. As I was getting there today, I just started feeling weird. I could tell something was up. I didn't really know what it was. Something wasn't right. I get to the platform. I can see there's a couple of cement bags, leftover construction and storage and stuff like that, that are within. We have regulations about how close debris can be to the edge of the track so that nothing falls onto it. And I go over. I'm still feeling tense and uncomfortable, so I start singing to myself while I work, and I'm just stacking the debris, cleaning up, all normal run-of-the-mill stuff, and I hear this like creaking noise coming from further up into the station, and it's a full, it's a full station. There's tunnels, and it was used to, as offices and things like that. So there's a bit of stuff through there, and I kind of.
When you say a creaking noise, sorry to interrupt, but when you say creaking noise, do you mean like the creak of an old wooden door, or do you mean like the creak of joints?
Like groaning, wailing, like cooning or something. I don't know, like this like crude,
like a sound from an individual.
Yeah,
Not something animate.
So sort of
animate.
more like a vocal creak.
Yeah, a real
Yeah, okay.
rasp.
Thanks.
Something, wasn't good, and it sounded very roughly like what I was singing, and I was pretty nervous, so I looked up and I see this face looming out of the darkness coming straight towards me. Not a normal face. Looked like a child's picture or something. I thought it might have been like graffiti or something, like just drawn, but it's moving, it's at the right level, and it comes straight towards me. I fall backwards, land on my ass, and I at that point I don't remember much. I picked myself up and I got the hell out of there, and I remember getting back to one of the maintenance walkways, and then basically I came in and made the report, and it's all spiraled from here.
That does sound mightily unnerving. So thanks for sharing. And I know it's never particularly fun to have to admit that you fell on your ass, but if it makes you feel any better, I did that literally just this morning. I stepped on a wet patch and managed to fall down on a patch of grass, and yeah, it hurts, but at least you're all right.
Yeah, somehow it does help. That's everything.
No thanks.
And at least you were in private in the train station. Pudding did that in public.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, the best thing you do in that situation is just have a giggle, don't you? You can't really, people get worried when you fall over, and they're like, "Oh no, should I go and help them? Are they going to be embarrassed?" You just have a laugh, and then everyone kind of moves on with their day. I mean, my butt was wet for a good like a solid 20 minutes afterwards, till I managed to find somewhere warm to drive. Anyway, that's beside the point. You said you saw like a face coming towards you, and you said it was like a child's drawing. When you say that, can you kind of give me describe a little bit more what type of face it was? Like, was it just a crude rendition of a face, circle, smiley, two dots, or was it more a crude rendition of a particular kind of face? You know what I'm asking?
It was like a proper shape, like as if it was a person, but like dots and like a face, not a smiley face because it wasn't, it was a line, and like dots for a nose kind of thing.
So crude. The
Yeah.
correct shape, but crude.
Yeah, like someone had like scribbled cartoon features onto something.
Unfinished.
Again,
And was
dark, and it was quick, and I didn't get a good
So-
look at things.
so you
I-
couldn't say if there was anything attached to the face, like a body or a neck?
I felt like I was getting rushed towards, so I stepped back.
Did you hear footsteps at that time?
I was listening to music and I was singing. I'd so not really. I'd taken one earphone out to hear the creaking noise better, and at that point, they're so loud that footsteps I didn't really hear. I was going to.
Understood.
Side note: I was going to. There's no song is specified that was being listened to within the text. I was going to make one up to try and add flavor. Then I realized we probably shouldn't sing copyrighted tunes just for.
Also,
You have to strict yourself to like creepy
Hey,
lullabies that are
it's-
within the Creative
If I
Commons.
can, if I can make a
happy
pitch, though.
birthdays
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. What was your pitch, PC?
Oh,
Jackson?
do we have to hear it? I mean, can we just talk about what song it is? Because
Sure.
Bruce Buckler strikes me as a Swiftie.
That sounds great. Okay, yeah. Pick your. I was.
Am I
gonna,
wrong?
No, that sounds. I was gonna. Immediately in my head was Total Eclipse of the Heart for some reason.
That's a good
but
one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Well, let's go.
yeah.
Let's go with the your favorite Taylor Swift song. Insert.
We're
here.
gonna get sued. Let's get sued by the big dog.
Straight to the
Go
top.
Yeah.
big or go home, fam.
Let's go out. Taylor.
So just so like for this conceptualizing, when he's saying it's like it's a faces in like it was 3D, like there was an actual like skull kind of thing. But would the closest thing be if someone had taken say like a mannequin and just drawn a like kind of
Yep. I hear what you're saying. I'll get you to make a read person check at this point.
that's not what I do.
I hear you. It's tough to get out some of the details here.
That's fair.
PC Lewis, can you
Is that
read
what
people?
Louis? I cannot. Isn't that Lucy's job?
I can read person if I could have resolved my vestigial. I had put 10 points into it from
You did.
above base, but I can vibe check if he seems like a cool dude.
Yeah.
That's my energy. No, I'm
Or
not
I
getting
can
you
just-
like.
And I think this is within the
Specifics.
domain of specifically to do with the language, and we'll jump back to you, Lucy, in a
I think his
second.
vibe
where
check.
we'll
He's
get-
been pretty solid so far. Is
Yeah.
what I'm reading.
Yeah, you can have 4 points.
Okay,
I have so many points.
so you.
I do have to use luck to cast any kind of magic, though. That's the flip side of that.
Yeah, that is true. So you described that sort of mannequin concept that you've said, and yeah, basically that seems to be about right. But as Buckler is kind of agreeing with that, you get the sense that really he was pretty shook up, and he just doesn't have that much information to give you. If you start pushing him at this point, he'll probably kind of like say, yes, that was it, to lean in. The mannequin analysis that you did is probably as close as you were going to get to correct without, prejudicing the witness, I think would be the technical term.
I'm gonna pull a little like pasty or something out of my bag and just hand it to him and be like, just in case, I'm assuming you've had a rough night and you could probably use something to eat. It's not hot, but it is warm, which you could argue because it was in
a pocket.
Maybe I pull it out of a pocket or something. He could be like, oh, it's probably just body warm. It's a little warmer than that, but enough that he could wave it off, and I just hand him a pasty. And I'm like, I was gonna have it later.
If you have a fever.
Kind of takes it, and then you see him go, oh, I don't want to address that this is the incorrect temperature, and he kind of makes his excuses basically.
Mine are weird.
Unless you have anything else, which you might, because Lucy may lead to some questions here, but we'll quickly throw across. I'm so sorry. I just noticed that there is somebody called a good dog in chat, which feels appropriate to Lucy. So that is very funny.
Good dog.
Lucy, you head over and you can start sussing out the material here.
Yeah, so I want to... my angle here is... I think Lucy's probably been in the underground previously. This seems like a cool place for dogs to roam and not get hit by trains. Sort of just running along them on the tracks. Very Disney TV movie.
Yep.
So I think I'm aware of I have a default smell that goes with this, and I'm looking for... in a more traditional dog smelling sense, things that are a bit odd. I'm like, oh, that's there's something that's really getting my interest here that I shouldn't be attracted to. And then the other one would be sense fastigia. I know that it's probably a long shot. This happened a while ago. This has changed from the place, but maybe if I get an extreme or something, because this is kind of sense. I go about it from a smell angle rather than a sight and sound.
You have
something might be able to linger.
Throughout the entire conversation, you have enough time to really, really get into this, basically. So I think that I'm happy for you to make 2 rolls or 1 with a bonus die. You can pick, and the 2 ones that I'm hearing here are observation with the scent focus and sense fastigia.
That was my angle too. So my observation is 60, my sense fastigia is 70, so I'll go ahead and I'll roll my observation first. Then I'll roll sense fastigia. So observation. That's a 100.
That is a fumble. Fantastic.
Very nice.
I might tear this.
No. You've rolled 1d00. You've rolled 1d0.
We're okay. Thank you, Jackson.
That's the
D00.
If it was 100, it would say 100.
We 1 or 100. You can't get a 0 on a D.
I think that was weird.
You colored it green because you rolled a crit, because you rolled the highest possible roll
but
on a
you
Z0.
also rolled a fumble, which is funny because that would suggest that inside.
Look, do we want to get into
crits over fumbles? Yeah.
Do we really want to get into the mathematics of 0 not actually being a number?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Parody of 0. Debate.
Okay. So that is a regular success on my observation. 6 off a hard if I need it. I'm gonna go ahead and... Do you want me to just bundle these up for you, Jim?
Give me with the next one. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
Well,
impressive.
I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna whip one more just to test.
Nice,
okay,
nice.
thank God.
Oh, there was the fumble. Okay. Wow.
Okay, so one of those is 6 off a hard. The second one is 1 off a hard. So I'm feeling... I came here to spend money today, James.
I want to take everyone's luck because you had too much at the end of the last session. Why don't you hit me with 7 points of luck, and I will give you the full information you can get from this.
I'll also quickly, while you're doing that, I'm going to do a re-roll for my luck because I didn't do it for this time.
I was going to say, how does luck work for everyone else?
Yes, perfect.
Same as usual.
Yes.
Advancement 1d10.
I will double check because I believe that you at the top of the scenario re-roll a value of luck for this scenario.
Okay.
And then we go forward from there and as things go through. But let me just double check that.
That's actually fun. I like
that. That's cool.
A little bit of adjustment. So because obviously we will have multiple sessions in a scenario, your luck will persist for
race you through the book
a while. I check. Meanwhile, did you have a question, Art?
No, that was it. Just how does luck work for everyone else?
Okay,
because I think we missed for our last session. I think if we were meant to like do a lock check at the beginning of the session like we do for
Yes.
Call of Cthulhu. We didn't do that last session.
Yeah, I haven't really been doing them that much.
But like I don't do that. That's the other thing for like Demimond is I don't get a luck refresh at the beginning of every session. I only get a luck refresh when that time happens. So if a session, like if we have 3 sessions that are like 3 hours, that's me done.
Exactly.
That's all I get.
Exactly.
So after every session, you do the 1d100 and add a d10 if over.
And every new case file, this is a new case file, you roll 2d10 plus 50. So this is going to be your value for the whole case file.
That's cool. And once per case file, you can take some R&R and get an automatic 1d10.
Important.
Cool. All right, I'm going to reroll mine then, and then I'll make the adjustments accordingly.
Okay, so what do you get from that information, though, specifically? So 2 hard successes here, and on the observation and on the sense vestigia. Okay, so first of all, observation. This man has been down into the underground. You get all of the basic sense that corroborate the story. You get a whiff of a particular curry shop that you know is relatively near to this area. So there's nothing that suggests that what was immediately told was incorrect. More importantly, recognizing the hard success, from a mundane perspective, just sniffing what is on this guy and what was on presumably the station as well as a result, you do not get any hint of, massive disturbance. There's not even a ton of dust beyond where Buckler fell, basically.
So I get sort of standard work, basically.
Yeah, standard
I guess
work.
A couple of things that I think might alert me just in case they give me anything. Hasn't been injured or anything. There wasn't any sores, there wasn't any wounds underneath it.
No, but nothing. Maybe a graze where it fallen, but that's it.
Another one be he is the legitimate owner of this vest. This is not just another person who's got it, but the normal wearer smells different. So this is a fairy that's crept in and is doing weird shit.
This is you can smell traces of this morning's shampoo kind of thing, and
I guess
it's on the vest too. Yeah.
And if I think I can triangulate by curry shops.
Yep.
He was kind of where he said he was.
Yeah,
he was working in the station. He said
exactly. So yeah, this guy is telling the truth. Went down into the underground, is who he says he is. Saw
and kind of nothing more of significant. No, yeah,
exactly. It's as with the checks on the criminal history of the owners of Stonewater's bookshop last time. This is a confirmation of nothing in that angle, kind of thing.
Noted.
Right, but the other angle, completely different. Now, there is definitely some vestigia here. It has faded. Vestigia does fade, and transferal by objects is, it's a powerful thing that can be used, but this is quite a difficult detection task that you have right here to sort of just get a residual sense. That said, you're a damn expert at this. This is what you do, Lucy. So, as you start to try and really snuffle at things, maybe with Buckler occasionally glancing over to check exactly what it is you're doing,
I ignore
him. You get a couple of things. First of all, you get the one distinct vestigia. This is the smell of oil, sweat, a sense of boredom, and claustrophobia. You would immediately be able to say that is just the underground. It is particularly strong, but that's probably because there is a lot of metal and things that are really good at maintaining vestigia down in the underground. So wandering around through a disused station, you probably pick that sort of thing up.
Stone and concrete.
Yeah, absolutely. You are about to give up when you get another hint, and this is your first something really different. You pick up a very, very faint vestigia, and this one is very bizarrely out of place. You get the sense of frankincense and cedar oil, a feeling of deep loneliness, and the chanting of children's voices. And it's just for a second as you get that sense. Can't help but think of the children's section of Stonewater's bookshop all of a sudden. again as that like chanting chatter goes through your head, and then it's gone just as soon as it arrived.
The means by which I would like to communicate this information to my colleagues is, I think, Lucy is very focused in on it, and as the conversation draws to a close, you will notice like she would just have a sniff, and if there's nothing of note, kind of dismiss it. She's clearly got something, and it takes her a while to pinpoint it. She's focusing in, she's trying angles. Eventually she does that like stop, and you know when a dog like freezes and just kind of looks up in the corner and you're not quite sure if it's about to start sprinting around or shit itself. She's like stopped, she's looking, and because she's trying to like angle the sense, like a little bit more ear, a little bit less nose, a bit of tongue. I've got it. And that shows that she's found something. And then she hones in it. And then later on, in like when the room's quiet, if the others really focus in on it, maybe they can pick it up as well. And I can,
I'm very happy for you to be able to lead in. You are the detector dog at this point. Much less yap factor as much as pointing. But
detective dogs, I think they're trained to like sit down when they've found something and just wait
Lucy
for someone to come over.
Lucy.
I was trying to
that's true.
attack.
Yeah.
Well, I think what I do is once it gets closer is I'm not going to let him take this back. I will like soft muzzle it, and then I will bring it to one of the who has the highest sensitivity of the three of you. You're all at like a bunch of you at 60s.
60.
I'm
60. Is anyone
I don't know. I'm at 30.
Not Barton then. All right, well, I will take it across to... Well, in that case, if you're leading the investigation, I'll bring it across to PC Lewis during this, and I'll put it in you, and I'll make it clear.
Very good.
Something.
Yes, no, I'm not much of a talker, so I'll
This
take
is me
it.
submitting evidence.
Very good. I will tag it
on the
and or bag it. What is it again? Sorry, is it the thing?
Vest, the vest,
or is it just
the,
the sense? It's just the vest.
safety
Okay, gotcha.
The safety vest.
Yeah, cool.
Based on Pudding's, very successful social role, this isn't going to be an issue taken as evidence. No worries. Replacement will be sourced by, London Underground. With that, unless you have any other questions, Buckler will take his leave, and the collection of you are free to. You can chat to Finnegan if you want. Otherwise, you are awaited at Holden Station. You could go back to the Foley and do more research. I think that probably takes about half an hour currently, so we're at 9:30 p.m.
Station?
PC Lewis, did you find out that superstition, the mummy or whatever? Was that one of them like Tutankhamun type mummies, like kids, or were they like an adult?
Haunted by an ancient Egyptian princess is all I got from the GM.
I mean, a princess could be an adult, depending on how long their parents lasted, but that, like...
With the tight half hour, I'm happy to say I only focused on the station itself, so I don't know how much detail I got on the alleged haunting.
You currently you didn't get much beyond the rumors that it was haunted. I'd be happy for you to make a history check here to see if you can sort of like you have the additional details.
I have no history.
Okay, well.
That's not a common skill, is it? No.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I always think it's a common skill because I'm so used with playing with Leo Venturini, who is one of the pre-gens who has it, and it's always throw to Leo and get the history roll. No, that is an uncommon skill. You're entirely right. So I think the only one here would then be I'll give you a half intelligence, yeah. But it's just
wait, this is a chance to open the expert skill?
Oh
right?
yeah, absolutely. That's cool. You're entirely right. Opening skill, so you can have a shot at that. You're gonna have to spend luck
to you could like get history, basically, Lewis. Like you could have this as a skill on your sheet. If you, it's what you succeed the hard end, and then you spend luck to like purchase it.
Right.
Yeah.
I have enough going on. Literally, my expert skills
I might
box
try
is
that.
full.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't have a bunch of skills. I'll give it a go.
Let's get Barton.
Absolutely, Barton. So that works perfectly. I'm just going to bring up the rules for it because there is. I'm not sure if you have to. Pay
I won't get
beforehand,
it, but
or if you have to pay afterwards. But I believe that the mechanics for it is that you make a roll basically with disadvantage, and if you succeed, you can open the skill at a value. I think it may even if you fail, it still opens.
Trying your luck.
Trying your luck. That's what it is under.
114.
Thank you.
Yep, I actually had this open because I was looking at the recovery.
You succeed it first.
You spend 10 luck. You spend 10 lucks to attempt. If you fail, you can spend additional to make it a success, or you can push it. If you succeed it, you may then spend a further 10 to unlock it.
Okay, so I've
So
spent my
20
10
so 10 to attempt.
Spending my 10 to
Attempt
attempt.
against what though?
Half
your characteristic, the appropriate characteristic. So in this case, intelligence.
Oh, okay. So it'd be like if you're wanting to get like a skill that's physical, you might be doing it as like a half strength or half dex.
Okay, and I can
That's
use luck to succeed, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep. What's your
Okay.
intelligence?
Yes,
My
you can.
intelligence is 50. It's one of my higher ones, so well,
Okay.
mid. It's mid, thoroughly mid. But hey,
This is
29 to 25
nice.
is easy.
It's
Fantastic.
another
So
four
that
and then
little
another
bit
10.
more spend, and as the Trying Your Luck section
That's
notes,
cool.
this isn't necessarily you spontaneously developing a skill as much as revealing that
Yeah.
Barton has an interest in history. So
Yeah.
is this? I mean, you've Barton
That
is
tracks.
a
I've
nerd,
traveled.
and
Yeah.
you've been all over the place, and yeah, that makes
So-
total
Yeah.
sense.
You have to spend another 10 to get the skill. Like, so you
Yeah.
10 to attempt,
24
10 to get
total.
it, and then whatever spend to succeed if you're doing it that way.
And then you get it at
half
25.
value. So you've
You
come
get it
in
at 25, yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant. So we now
There you
have
go.
some amateur history. With that in mind, right? You have succeeded on that roll, so you now don't need to make another
Ew.
history check, right? And thinking back, you have some, incidental facts about the British Museum and about all the kinds of materials that were in there. You probably got into it when you were looking into the like when you first arrived in England and sort of were just getting into everything
Look, I've
there.
traveled. I think that I did actually. Went on a photography jaunt to Egypt. To
Yeah.
be honest,
Oh,
Ooh.
fantastic! I
Yeah,
definitely
traveled.
like that. Yeah,
this is the thing about having a good stable career and being in your 50s.
yeah, absolutely.
With no kids and a dog.
With no kids and only recently a dog.
So the answer is this: is it a child sarcophagus or anything like that? First of all, we don't know because this hasn't been opened. So it was part of the rush to Egypt for archaeologists. They were bringing back all of these interesting things, and the unlucky mummy is by reputation a relic that was taken back, and it is wrapped up completely in the story of the curse of Tutankhamun and all that stuff and all the media frenzy around it. So specifically the people who delivered this, there's like they went on a hunting trip up the Nile after they got the mummy and their gun exploded. There was all of this myriad of disasters. When they took it back, they had it at their house and all their dogs went mad and killed each other and stuff like that. So there's and how much of this is more dog violence? Terrible.
No.
How much of this is
It was the fashion of the time.
to
say-
How much of it is real and how much of it is mythos?
It's honestly pretty much all myth. None of it's ever been. I mean, it was silly things like it was on the Titanic, which obviously it wasn't because it's here.
Exactly. The other details
And
are...
not in the Marianas Trench.
But
the other details are, so, the rumor is it's of an Egyptian princess. This is absolutely not known.
or a
but-
priestess.
Yeah, the vibe changes. The only other thing of sort of particular note is that it is rumored to be responsible for there are disappearances in the tube that happens, and every time that there are disappearances, it is blamed for that. Specifically, there were 2 women who disappeared in the tube around the time, in the time following the arrival of the mummy, and it has been credited to, being involved in the disappearance of these 2 women.
Because people like looking for explanations for things.
Yep.
And it's a
No one
funny
likes,
one 'cause it's not
random
actually
chance.
it's not actually a mummy.
This
Huh?
is a
Well,
this
It's
is
a painting. It's a painting of a mummy.
I have the information that it was actually a sarcophagus. Maybe I've completely...
It's a sarcophagus,
Yeah.
but the mummy inside it is not a mummy. It's a painting of it's the board and it's a painting. Yeah.
Huh. There you go. That makes sense. I thought it was unopened. All right, interesting fact.
It may be unopened, but that's
Ultimately,
because they might have done an X-ray. They often do X-rays of things so that we can see what's in them without damaging the artifacts.
Point. Ultimately, with this history check, and you're basically the research, pretty happy to say you don't think that there is much credence to this myth. You know,
I don't. No.
There's a lot of grains of truth in things, so we'll see exactly what it is. Okay. Any other questions?
Yes. One.
Please.
Are torches considered electrical equipment?
Torches are electrical equipment, but if you're worried about magic and how magic will affect them, if they don't have a processor in them, they'll be fine.
Oh, really?
It's
I
just
believe
a chip.
that it's the chip that gets fried. Like you can have a circuit, a simple circuit, but as soon as you have more intelligence
Processors.
and a logic gate, you can run a live wire.
Which is why the folly can have power, but not the internet.
Right,
Yeah.
of course.
You know.
Well, almost. Kind of the internet because there were magical protections put in place around the building itself, and they were like disassembled by the team of wizards to put the power lines in at the turn of the century, and then had to be re-enchanted. And in the time since then, since the internet came along, there just aren't enough wizards with the knowledge and skills to take the enchantments apart and put them back together again. DCI Nightingale isn't willing to do it, isn't willing to take them down because he doesn't think he has the skill alone, because they've lost all that institutional knowledge, then put them back up again. They're not allowed to run lines in there.
My headcanon, he absolutely can take it down. He just doesn't.
He just doesn't want to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he just doesn't want Wi-Fi in the building because kids these days are on their damn phones too
You
much.
know what? And he's never learned to use it, and it's just one more thing that he'd have to learn, and
it's a way for him to separate everybody from like the places he wants to hang out. I reckon that. Never mind. Continuing through. Ready for Holborn Station?
Putting like an excited child grabs a torch and just like starts skipping down whatever the nearest stairs are or pathways to go to this weird place where the singing mummy is.
Okay, sounds perfect.
I'm excited to make new friends. Last time we made a friend. I want to make new friends.
Yeah, it can only go well. It's absolutely not true. So it's a pretty quick trip, and you head over to the Holborn Station, where you are going to be meeting with Sergeant Kumar. By the time you arrive, it is probably about 9:45, and you find the sergeant idling, basically waiting by this, inside the entryway to the main station. There's not much traffic here at this time. It's gotten late enough that there really isn't much activity, and Kumar is seems a little, not necessarily miffed, but he's a very business-like person. Heads forward. He's already in his high vis, ready to go. He's got some bags set to one side, which he's standing by, and he's set up some tape to indicate that there's going to be, police activity. He's done all of the formalities and has probably been here for a little bit. He's a Anglo-Indian man, relatively slim with dark hair. Steps forward and pretty quickly introduces himself, and as soon as you start talking about the underground, seems to get a little more excited. So we're going to need to do a safety briefing and everything along those lines before we head through. But in general, you're ready to go. Have any of you been down here before?
No, but I have read your
has.
case reports with DC Grant, and it was a raptured reading, and I'm very much looking forward to approaching this new frontier.
Yes.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Yes, very good. Your dog Lucy's well trained. Won't. I'm just worried about rails. Third rails is all.
Lucy's fine. Lucy is very well trained and has been.
Okay, very
Lucy's
good.
fine.
Lucy's taking it pretty seriously too.
Lucy can probably smell the electricity.
Oh, that.
Yeah. So Kumar is not particularly sensitive to don't say hello to dogs. So bends down and greets you, Lucy, as he continues to speak.
Lucy friendly though.
Yeah. And says so. We'll all have high visibility vests and torches, and he gives a basic briefing. Here are the key points. He does this a lot better with a lot more formality and a lot more procedure. Do not split up. You need to be visible to him at all times, because he is the reason you're allowed to be down here legally. And like, if he withdraws his authority at any point, you have to leave, right? Do not run. There's never a reason to run. You will fall, you will hit yourself, it will be bad.
It will suck.
Yeah, they have turned off the power. So down in the rail sections down here. So third rails should not be a problem. That said, they have a, it's a the gun is always loaded type situation. Do not touch him, stay away kind of thing. If you need to go deeper into the stations, there are a lot of procedures that can basically trigger a stop. We need to think about this. So if you see anything unsafe broadly, or if you see anything indicative of a crime having been committed broadly, you need to stop and like secure the area, and there's a bunch of procedure before you're allowed to continue forward.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So with a little bit of added context, some of the basic information that you found for convenience's sake will have been passed forward by Finnegan via phone call in between your arrival here and your departure from the police station. Kumar will just clarify. So if you get down there and there is something, if there's a problem, we basically need to leave as quickly as we safely can. Once we've ascertained what it is. We're not trying to set up a pursuit here unless it is unavoidable. Obviously, that is the strictest policy and procedure. In a crisis situation, we have to make an assessment as we're there.
Okay. So what you're saying is if something, goes out and we need to run, we can in that situation. In a very specific subset of circumstances, we are permitted to run, but just generally don't.
The ideal situation per procedure would be that we never get close enough to anything to allow ourselves to need to run. If we spotted something, we'd be at a safe distance and could back away and would retreat out as necessary. But again, these procedures hold up as best they can. If you need to run backwards the way we came and stay close.
What kind of things is he expecting to run into? Like his trains, right? Like we're not going to just run into...
Well, I mean, there's like squatters that potentially...
We're aware of threats, but he seems to be like, this is his routine checklist, and one of them is in the event of bears in the underground.
It could be
more like suspects. He deals with police coming down there, presumably.
Also,
suspects.
If he's the liaison officer, ostensibly... He's seen some shit.
He knows that there's weird shit, but also mundane shit. Like there are people who like break into the London Underground tunnels to be
that's
miscreants in general.
He's talking about this from the context of he has a bit of insight into what's been happening, right? Like he knows that but the steps in terms of his day-to-day to answer, absolutely, yes. Don't pursue people into the underground. That's not what they do. They shut down everything. It's a whole thing. But the two specific circumstances he is most aware of is structural instability and you found a body. So you found a crime has been committed. If you find a body, you don't investigate. You shut down and you leave. If you find an area that is like disused and could be dangerous or something, you don't try and fix it. That is what Bruce would do. As in Buckler. Yeah. You set problem here and you leave, those kind of situations. So that's what he's trying to specify.
You find a body, it's you shut down and then you bring in the police department, like the rest of your police department, to do a crime scene investigation.
And you would do a full risk assessment of how you would do get in there and everything like that. The circumstance of like how you run away from a mummy if it attacks you is basically and as with all procedures for the folly and folly related stuff, is basically a port of something that would happen in the mundane world. So like if an unstable wall is falling on you, how do you act in that? And it's just ported over. What if the wall is a mummy?
What if the wall hates you?
This is... we are aware that Kumar is the liaison officer, so we can kind of be a bit more explicit about
Kumar's
right.
Aware of this. Yeah.
Kumar is Falcon trained.
Mm-hmm.
So what about magic?
any tools at your disposal can be, and you see him slip his hand into his pocket and he starts to mess with his phone. Are yours to, do what you need to do.
Okay. Sure. Is there any are there any gas vents or anything like that in the tube?
As in
There's ventilation shafts, yeah.
small vents that people could get into, kind of thing, or a creature.
No, I mean is there ever any gas leaks in a tube?
There's a lot of in industrial power, chemical supplies, things like that. We have water mains that move through and intersect, moving by the tunnels. It would be a major issue if one of those had happened. We have detectors in place that should have alerted us if there was a problem.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about from the perspective of someone, inhaling some gas and seeing something weird. I mean that, magics can sometimes involve flammable things, and I'd rather not accidentally set my eyebrows on fire again.
I see. I think that falls under the category of if there's anything that would require us to, take extra. If stuff
it's okay,
gets
I'll
weird,
just
we
make
get
sure I
out
run cold.
as best as
It's
we
fine.
can. Yes, yeah, I hear you. You're not going to cause an explosion unless the walls are caving in, and at that point, something else is problematic. So, yeah.
I drop my internal thermostat just a tiny bit if I am physically capable of doing that, or I just I run hot. I'm gonna try and pull that heat internal, more into my chest so that I'm not quite as toasty on everything else. I'm gonna run a little cooler.
I don't think you need to expect gas leaks at every.
You
this
probably
is why
like,
they have someone walking the track.
It's
every
more
single
like
night.
just. This is also a little bit of how Pudding deals with being in fire is they have some pretty unique control over stuff. So essentially what they're doing is creating a little barrier so that if heat hits them, they've got some ability to absorb some of it before it hurts them, because they can at least that's how I'm working it. Is essentially I'm working on the basis, because the way that it's described in the book is you have the ability to do some spell-like things, but in very specific circumstances. So if someone throws a fireball at me, I am going to try and essentially use the shield spell, but personally.
Yeah.
As a way of not getting hit by that, but the description of that is much more because it's fire. So if a gas main explodes, I could be great, I just took a full fireball to the face and I just made a pocket for myself. I'm no.
You were setting yourself in a defensive sort of mindset.
Yeah.
Might be a good way to say it. Okay,
Yes.
That makes total sense.
Which physically just means when you touch me, I'm not a furnace anymore. I'm just normal human temperature.
Is literally down. And defensive mindset, that's just perfect from the perspective of Kuma, who is very happy to lead you down into the tunnels below. It's pretty boring at the start. You go through a bunch of side access doors and things like that until you head down a ramp, basically, that takes you out onto the track proper, where there is a long walkway that heads down alongside your path. It doesn't stay boring for long, though. Pretty quickly, you find yourself emerging into a darker and grimmer and more claustrophobic area. That little walkway starts to get all too narrow, and you've got maps, as I mentioned, and you've been given these little plastic sort of lanyard cards by Kuma that try to show you this is your emergency exit route, basically, for if you need to get out. But after taking just one turn, you immediately start to feel you've stepped into a different labyrinth, stuff like that. Also, Pudding, from your perspective, suddenly below ground, the knowledge doesn't apply as much. You are in a different network of webs, and specifically, these are so old that it's really tough to understand what's happening. You all detect, because you've got yourselves primed for it, and Lucy has pointed it out before, that vestigia of oil, of boredom, of claustrophobia, and of sweat. These are all things that...
The normal one.
Just
though.
the normal one, yeah. How is everyone taking being in the underground?
Really well. I got PC Patrick Lewis got his notebook out. He just loves like learning new procedures and collecting them. That was excellent. 10 out of 10 safety briefing. Would recommend to anyone in the force, anyone in the service.
Fantastic.
We've got torches and stuff, right? So like we've got some light and
Hard hats.
hard hats and all that. I think for fun, I'm as soon as we get into kind of the real creepy looking places, there is something in the back of my mind that's like, ooh, did I bring any of that high ISO red film? Because this would look good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
there'd be some really good
And I'm
shots
like,
you could take
yeah,
down
and
here.
so basically I'm like, just every now and then being like, well, that looks kind of cool and creepy, and just taking a tourist photo almost. Just being like, just getting photographer brain in the underground.
The first time you do it, you see Kumar like turn around because presumably you have flash going.
No, no.
Okay, so
that's why I'm asking about it,
yeah.
because that's the point, right? Like, if I flash on, it's just gonna be a photo with flash. No, but like this is like the underground.
Okay,
and
yeah.
If I've
Red
got
ISO
some like
should have figured
funky expired film
Mhm.
that's like a really quick ISO, maybe got some infrared stuff going on.
Brilliant. No, that's fantastic. In which case, Kumar would have been like, "That's fine. You're here with the
Just
police.
clicks.
Like it makes sense." But you continue to get a couple of shots as you move through. Has Button done urban exploring before? Do you think it feels like the kind of thing that you might have?
In his misspent youth, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic.
Like the guided tour kind is probably more his speed these days. But
Yeah. Lucy,
20s,
this
I
feels
imagine.
like... Well, yeah. Lucy, this feels like it's in your domain entirely.
Yeah, I think I've been down in sections of this before. I don't think I've been through all of them. Just a kind of like a dry place sometimes, or a way to get between areas without really being seen so much. I think Lucy is not freaking out or anything, but probably treating it pretty seriously. So, on business,
Yep.
ears up, relying more on smell than sight. Although I think she's got two little torches on her vest, so there is a beam that focuses where she looks, but more reliant on other senses. And I think when if anyone strays or lingers anywhere for a moment, she stops with them to make sure that the group doesn't get separated.
Nice.
And then we'll give like a bark if the others are continuing, and then we'll bound back to... So, kind of herding everyone together and on the lookout for danger or risk.
You all made pretty good time getting to the station, which means that Kumar isn't cross when you arrive. But this action here, you like... hurting people and helping, you can see an appreciation from him. He seems pretty pleased with you like treating this the way that he would. So continue through the tunnels.
Pudding's humming.
Pudding's humming. Yeah.
Nope, the last guy got in trouble for that.
Oh
so
yeah,
careful.
you
Swifty song.
Yeah.
we want it to come out, don't we? So
I want to say like Pudding is humming some kind of upbeat version of like a really heavy metal song or something like that. Just
Nice.
like, or
it's
actually
like
just
it's like the group that do the postmodern jukebox version of like
Yeah.
yeah, of like postmodern jukebox version of Killing in the Name of.
yeah.
Like something like that, or just tuneless, but like a kind of a mixture of both. They seem quite relaxed. They are eyes on a swivel because they are doing this intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Yeah. So your humming kind of is basically the only sound for a while, but with all of you following the instructions pretty clearly, you can see that Kumar starts to relax, and visibly his posture softens. You get deeper and through. Getting to the British Museum Station is hard for anyone at this point. So you have to it's a little bit complicated. He leads you through walking across a section of like sleepers and like there's not really clear pathways and things like that. But as you get deeper, you can see that he's getting more enthusiastic, and before long, he starts to sort of chat a little bit, just mentioning, I'm pretty excited to explore down here. I haven't actually been to the British Museum station before. It's it's just to mention a few things.
And do the stories about its history, about this haunting get around the BSP?
Look, I mean, we hear every legend that comes through. I don't think there's much credence to that one in particular. But I mean, it's a place with a lot of history. There's a dozen other conspiracies that you could lead into. Some people think that when it was being used as military officers, there was a brief period after the war that it was a secret service kind of thing. There's all kinds of hints and stuff like that.
We shall certainly keep our eyes peeled.
Have tunnels we'll use.
Yeah.
Is there any chance where, like, I know I don't have the knowledge for the underground yet. I have pretty good navigate by default.
Yep.
Am I able to begin the process of finding my bearings down here?
Yeah, absolutely.
The
Why
upgrade.
don't you make a navigation roll?
It's any video game. We need to find a series of like beacons that
Light them all
Stations.
up.
activate,
Oh, sure.
and then we will
Yeah.
get
Stations,
that
yeah,
area.
43 is a success.
Okay, yeah, you are getting a pretty decent, between the maps and the bits and pieces that you have, you are getting a pretty decent idea of where you are. You could definitely navigate your way out at the very least. After probably, it's not very far, but it is slow going. It takes about 15 minutes for the briefing, takes about half an hour of travel before at roughly 10:30 you arrive at the station itself. It looms out of the darkness rather suddenly as you come along one of these, major pathways. At this point, the access tunnels are like small, and a lot of them were knocked down in the process of building. So the best bet is just to use the remnant of the larger tunnel that services the station. So you're coming in via one of these larger routes and back onto one of those ramps, although this one is much less well maintained. As you come in, your lights, scanning across the area, you see a really, really big station set up ahead of you. It's a long way down there, and you know that as you come in, sort of imagine a long straight line. The incident was at the other end of the platform, basically.
Gotcha.
Coming out from the direction of Holborn Station, you move off the tracks onto the platform itself. There's drawings on the walls that not like graffiti, like old murals and things like that. You can see debris set up in all kinds of like spots, construction remnants, things like that. And you can see that there is a like sub area that heads into like a maintenance hub at the far end. There's also all of the standard things you would expect, like there's seats, there's like old timetables up and things like that, as well as old like basically pin-ups that they would have put in while it was being used as a shelter and things like that, providing critical information. It's a real relic and kind of mural of history, basically, as you go through.
And I'm gonna be like, Button,
Hmm.
can you take a picture of the timetable for me?
Yeah, right.
All right.
Like
Is that an investigation clue thing, or is this completely being pudding? I'm curious.
Pudding's family has been in London since at least the Fire of London.
Of course.
Anything historical, like when
It's just
Barton was like,
interesting.
"Oh, I'm going to do history," I was like, Pudding probably also would be fascinated by history. Whether they retain any actually
Yeah.
useful information, different thing entirely. But I think like maybe I might look at some point at getting a little bit of history, but like
Yeah.
very specifically attached to my family.
Of
And
course.
like me personally, again, I'm playing Pudding as the first thought that comes into Art's head, Pudding does. And
Nice.
Art went 1930s timetable for a train.
interesting.
Gimme. So
It's
Pudding goes
interesting.
1930s timetable for a train. Gimme.
Gimme.
So that's all. It's Pudding stuff, but also it's just
Excellent.
cool.
No, that's fine. I was like, oh man, what's the angle here? Is like, can we find the exact time that
This is what
the train
happens
came
when-
very
Bold assumption, there's an
fast
angle.
Yeah, this is what happens when I play a character that doesn't have an angle. I know I usually do. This is just pure id.
That is an angle. That's an angle.
Perfect.
Having no angle is your angle.
You walk down the entire length of the platform, following along with Kumar. When you get towards basically the other end, you can see up ahead, there's like turnstiles and ticket barriers basically leading through into the like network of stairs and tunnels that go a bit further out. You can also see clearly where there was like a half-finished attempt to pile up and clean a pile of debris, mostly like bags of cement and things like that, as was mentioned by Buckler. You can also see where it's probably like the safety procedure for how far from the track it needs to be has probably like grown with inflation over the years as we worry more about that kind of stuff, and everything's slowly been shifted so it tracks to like why it's been there. As you get closer and closer, Lucy, you know about the Vestigia, you've pointed it out to people, and therefore no roll necessary. As you come through, you all get this thing cutting through the oil and the sweat. Again, frankincense and cedar oil, right? This kind of strong, like
It's pretty strong here. Like
Ooh,
if we can smell, if we can feel it or sense it through the strength of the underground that's been here for ages.
This is a quite potent Vestigia. In fact, it is potent. Like it's more potent than the Vestigia you got in Stonewaters, which was like a little confused and like it was a young genius Locorum. This is something that has more clarity to it. Cedar oil and frankincense, deep loneliness, and the sort of chattering conversation, chanting of children. It leaks through the station. You're the only sound now, the humming, Pudding, as Kumar basically drops one of the sort of supply bags that he has down and says, so we'll station out of here. We get separated, we come back to here. This is where we meet to head out. I'm standing by now for you to go forward with your investigation. See him glancing around, probably picked up some elements of the Vestigia even himself. I defer to the collection of you.
And like you said, we're going to stay within your line of vision at all times.
I need to be able to see all of you. If you, you can separate briefly to like go to do different things, but as long as eye line of me, I need to be able to get you on a swivel.
I said that to both demonstrate I was listening and to restate it for the other two.
Excellent. So,
I'm gonna start taking some photos.
All right, you'll be
and
taking
this time
photos.
with flash.
All right,
I'm gonna get the Polaroid camera out, which doesn't have a flash, so it necessitates a magical flash, and obviously because it develops within a minute or so.
It'll be pretty quick, and you can get some fairly good information.
Also, didn't we establish that like certain entities
they like the magic?
They like magic, so it's likely
absolutely.
to.
It's a way to get them to come out.
Do the classic
magic.
The classic and
for it.
So let's.
It's not a sustained one though. So like with a wearlight, this might just attract it a little bit.
I could do that.
We might just give it a little bit of a push, because I'm not sure if we want to like really
if you've got
something
the
out now, but I'm just doing like a little one.
Well, if you've got why don't you get the cameras ready and I can get ready to feed.
Let's do it.
What we'll do now is, because we're reaching close to the end of our session for today, I'm going to get everyone's next action, and I'll sort of describe and resolve and set us up for how we'll move in with next time based on that. So I understand that, Barton, you're going to be getting some cameras ready to take a shot of PC Lewis, who is about to wear light and try and attract...
Well, not necessarily just PC Lewis, but I'm going to just start taking photos of the area.
Yep.
I would probably start with PC Lewis, because wear light.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
You're in document mode, so
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
observation is probably what I'm getting from you, and or would you like to be very strictly say sort of like not necessarily looking for stuff as yourself as much as documenting everything? Because in that case, you could apply some bonus die to others, and you'll have like material
Yeah.
you can reference later.
That's more it, is I'm more documenting, and because I'm expecting that if anything happens, it'll either be reacting to the wearlight, to the magic, and being brought forth because of that, or if it's going to show up on the film, if it's going to show up on the photo, that's not going to be something I'm going to observe immediately while I'm taking it. That's something that's going to show up in the photo in 60 seconds or so.
Sure.
So it's less observation and either photography or magic.
Yep. I think make a photography check. I think photography.
Yeah,
works
yeah.
I'll do that next time.
Yep.
We'll do that.
Are you doing the rolls now,
no,
Jim?
we'll
Or
do the rolls. We'll do the rolls now.
Yeah.
I'll get everyone to do their rolls all at once though. So hold on for just a second. PC Lewis, I'll get a magic roll for you, I presume, because you're going to wear light.
Oh, I'm feeling quite foolish now. I would have brushed up on the case files and Peter Grant's case files. Is there any chance I would have thought to bring a hangover stone rather than a wear
A
light?
what?
Yeah,
I'm
deep
not
lore
getting
cut.
that reference.
Actually making
What's the
reference.
hangover
Oh,
stone? Which
that's-
book is that?
I don't remember which one it is actually. It's one where they need
Source.
to interview some ghosts in a train station,
Ah.
and rather than just continuously casting wear light,
yeah,
they just
no, there's
spend
a
the
spell
night
for that.
before. They spend the night before enchanting a rock, just like pouring a whole bunch of magic into a rock, so they
Yeah, you
can
can
just put the
just
rock
set it,
there
Because
and bring it over.
every pretty
Because
frequently
it's
magic points.
just like it's just like a battery rather than having to keep casting the spell. I cannot remember why they call it the hangover stone, but
Right,
it is
because
that
you've got a
becomes
hangover.
like
yeah.
a thing that they use later on.
Yes.
If they just need if they're just stationary and they just need to like flag some ghosts down, then you just bring a hangover stone rather than having to keep casting a spell up.
This is from the furthest station, and I got so excited I didn't read
There
that
you go.
one because I was really invested in the main plot. That's why I missed it. I think that you probably haven't here, I would say. I'm sorry to
Damn.
say.
Is there a case, Jim, for if he rolls really well in his magic check? That's it.
Yeah,
I was going to
let's
say
go
like a
with that.
luck
That's where we
roll
put-
if I remembered this
I think
thing
it comes
and,
down to
and
your
thought to
magical
bring it.
education, really. So let's do the
Alright.
magic check, and maybe if
I
you
like
get a hard
that.
success, you maybe thought to bring one. We'll
Fantastic. I'm happy with that. Are we all rolling now? Or not yet?
not quite yet. So, Pudding, what's your objective?
I mean, I'm not super great at doing anything until I have something to talk to,
Yeah.
or if I like.
Jim's
can
around.
like-
He'll have a chat. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I know totally. I understand. If there's any incidental searching, otherwise you can just sort of hold ready. Happy to defer to you here.
I mean, I was gonna say I can just do like an observation roll.
Yep. You
Just
basically
I'm just
check
looking.
the place out. Makes total sense.
I don't think we need unless doing a sense vestigia at this point would give us a direction. Like if we could get, because we're now in the place where it's very strong.
The vestigia more deeply and get a sense
Yeah,
of it.
actually,
Yes.
maybe I'll do that because that's more in line with like. I don't tend to focus on things very often, but when I do get focused on something, it is like beeline, that's it. So I think like getting really invested into being like, where is this coming from? What is its deal? Who are its people?
Sure.
Can I talk to it?
Please. And last, that sounds great. And Lucy?
I am going to one is liaise between people, so I'll dart back and forth, so because we don't have like phones or anything, so if anyone gets you, I'm the one that if it turns out someone has wandered away, I would like to notice
You would like
that.
to be able to catch them.
Secondly is, I mean, it sense vestigia, but I've kind of got it and can see it coming. I think I'm just on alert, probably with a more traditional observation. I am aware of, I'm looking for things approaching, seeing how anything reacts to the actions that we take now in a hostile or friendly manner. I think the recent events of the bookshop have quelled her immediate aggro desire somewhat, so there is a level of like, maybe this thing gets spoken to again, or maybe I get to bite it.
Perfect.
So I guess I'm probably going for observation.
That sounds correct to me. So I'll get everyone to make their rolls. There we go. So that is a 71 from Pudding. That's not fantastic for a nope. Okay, all good. So Vestigia, you're doing your best. From Barton,
Hard
31.
photography.
Hard photography.
Hard
Absolutely.
magic.
Hard
With
magic.
Hangover Stone.
Yeah, fantastic.
High
I
five.
got a hard success on my observation.
Hard success in your observation. Okay, so the setup for next time, here's what's going to happen. And Pudding, with this, the biggest story is going to be you with this fail, I'm afraid. But don't worry, you'll be just fine because Lucy is in the area. So first of all,
It's only like 11 above what I have, so it's not like a terrible fail,
No,
nor is it a
it's-
fumble. But
yeah,
I can wander off and look at things.
yes, exactly.
Let me go sniff some stones.
Basically. So Button, first of all, you're gonna get some decent pictures, reference material where you can have a look at the station in more detail
yeah.
later. Then you will head back towards Patrick Lewis, who very successfully
Snap.
is going to conjure up a wearlight. Now, very quickly, you are going to attract something, and it is a ghost. When it appears, it will not have the lingering vestigia that you have in mind. And it occurs to you with a hard magic that true ghosts do not, in fact, have
They don't
vestigia. They don't leave that kind of imprint on the world. So you've got a
They take it.
demimond presence here by
something.
being able to detect this, and you're not exactly sure what it is. You'll be able to have a chat with this ghost next session, but what appears is a rather fashionably dressed young woman in 1930s garb, strolling down the station towards you with her, eyes wide and bright as she approaches the wearlight, as if you've just sort of, put a delicious dinner out in front of her or something like that.
Which we kind of did.
Yeah, basically.
Exactly what we
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. Pudding, you are going to, in your attempt to search for the vestigia, wander basically just a little too far off towards the ticket barriers and the sections heading deep. As you said, not a fumble, and Lucy is nearby. Kumar would have kind of told you to stop, but he is distracted looking at, oh god dang, that's a ghost over at the other side. Lucy is not perturbed by ghosts, as we've discussed, so you are able to catch Pudding before they head too far, but there's a little bit of time where the conversation happens and you will be able to sort of be searching, but just before we finish off, you will start to hear that ominous creaking. You can't help but think, because you were humming as you worked once again, that there is a sound coming from just further down that corridor, is to be heading towards you, mimicking you. And we'll end our session there. Thank
Yay.
you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, Going Underground, you can pick it up on chaosium.com. And we will be back with more Rivers of London shortly. Thank you, Art. Thank you, Jackson. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Alex. And
Jimbo.
thank you to Roll20
And
and
no, wait.
Sirenscape.
chat.
Oh,
Big chat.
yeah.
Yep, excellent. See you all next time. Cheers.